Definitely some big whopping news right here. First off, President Trump signs in an executive order for deregulation. And basically for every new regulation that is created, 10 will be looked at to getting eliminated. What are your thoughts? Do we have too much regulation? Do you believe in deregulation? I would love to hear you comment down below. And the big whopping news for the day we're going to talk about is people said he was bluffing on it. And, the Mexico economy, Canada economy, they do a lot of their business with America. And if President Trump was to say to put a 25% tariff, it was going to be a hurting, right? And so it looks like he's going to go through with it. So let's get into this video. Let's talk about some of this stuff, and definitely comment down below and tell me, how do you think this is going to affect the transportation industry in a short term or long term? What is going on, mother truckers? So people said that the tariffs that President Trump was going to put on China, which was 10%, Mexico, which was 25%, and Canada, which was 25%, was just a negotiation tool, and that he would not do this February 1st. Now, if you're watching this right now, it is January 31st. So as far as tomorrow goes, is he really going to do this? And all signs point to, yes, he is going to do this. Now, if it's incorrect, then this is the information that I'm getting this from, right? One is from Caroline Levitt from the briefing today.
The Canadian Prime Minister said today that if the U.S. imposes tariffs, he will respond and he will not relent until the tariffs are removed. Are we seeing the start of a trade war with Canada?
I don't think so. I think the president is going to implement those tariffs tomorrow, and he will respond to Mr. Trudeau's comments in due time, I am sure.
She responds back. He's doing it. He is definitely doing it. And during the signing of deregulation right here, which I think is going to be good for truck drivers, so we'll see in the future. He just signed in an executive order for one new regulation that is created. 10 would get eliminated.
An order called Unleashing Prosperity Through Deregulation. So it slashes unnecessary regulations, which will put more money in Americans' pockets, unleash economic growth, and guarantee that the United States of America remains the strongest competitor on the world market. And in order to achieve that, this order requires a rigorous regulatory budget process. So for each new regulation issued, at least 10 prior regulations will be identified for elimination.
So let's see how that works for the trucking space. Reporter asked, is there anything that China, Mexico, and Canada can do to divert this tariff? And he said straight up, no.
Mr. President, is there anything China, Canada, and Mexico can do tonight to forestall your implementation of tariffs tomorrow?
No, nothing. Not right now, no.
Not a negotiating tool?
No, it's not. No, it's a pure economic. We have big deficits with, as you know, with all three of them.
And so Prime Minister Trudeau basically responds and basically is taking an approach of, if he does this, then we will do this.
As President Trump stated yesterday, he is still committed to placing tariffs on Canada starting as early as tomorrow, possibly. Now, we don't know precisely what that could look like, but I do know two things. First, if the president does choose to implement any tariffs against Canada, we're ready with a response. A purposeful, forceful, but reasonable, immediate response. That if tariffs are implemented against Canada, we will respond. We won't relent until tariffs are removed, and of course, everything is on the table. Ready for whatever scenario comes forward. The way you have all pulled together regions of the country, industries, thoughtful business leaders and thought leaders to unite as part of Team Canada, to be ready and flexible, whatever comes, is not just the right thing to do, it's also deeply reassuring to Canadians, reassuring to business owners, to workers, and to people around the world who look to Canada as a key partner. You've been speaking out, stressing that tariffs against Canada would have disastrous consequences for the United States, putting American jobs at risk, raising prices on Americans, and undermining our collective security. You've shown what it means to be part of Team Canada, fighting for this country we all love so much. At the same time, our government has responded to what the president is focused on and what is motivating him to consider applying tariffs as early as tomorrow, the flow of fentanyl and illegal crossings into the United States. Now, let me reiterate it. Our border is safe and secure, and less than 1% of fentanyl and illegal crossings into the United States come from Canada. We're committed to keeping it that way by addressing current challenges and strengthening our capacity. That's why we're implementing the $1.3 billion border plan we announced late last year. In fact, the first patrol helicopters began monitoring the border earlier this week, and new canine teams along with imaging tools are being deployed to detect and stop the flow of fentanyl. Meanwhile, our previously implemented border measures are already showing results too. We've ended the practice of flagpoling, when temporary residents travel to the United States only to immediately return to Canada to access immigration services, a decision that's saving Canadian and American border officials time and resources. And we're bringing in heightened security for visa applications, which has resulted in an 89% drop in illegal crossings by foreign citizens to the United States in the second half of last year.
You know, Mud Truckers, comment down below. What are your thoughts on this? Because President Trump said, you know, on a short term, it's going to affect Americans, right? Because we do so much business with Mexico and Canada that I truly wonder how much this will raise our prices. And so we'll wait and see. But as we talked about before, you know, there's 324,000 plus Canadians that are truck drivers that come back and forth and do a lot of work, and the money is in America. You know, I talked to endless of my trucker buddies from Canada, and they say when they work local in Canada, there's not a lot of money. They make most of their money from driving and, you know, bringing the loads and bringing the shipments over to America. So a lot of trucking business. I wonder what's going to happen. You know, the small guy that reached out to me, concerned that his small fleet of trucks is going to go out of business if President Trump enacts this 25% tariff in Canada. And so let's see how this operates. But just want to let you guys know, as of now, it truly looks like there's going to be a 10% tariff in China, 25% in Mexico, and 25% in Canada.